Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Nick family. Welcome to the Just Nick and the Weekly Show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, joined by I am Jarrell, Dope Soul Alumnus 2022. Jeff Clafter from the Happily Ever Clafter. I always get tongue tied with that. Daily sports blog. Y'all know my condition. I'm down in Sparta. Hopefully, there's not a lot of audio issues or video issues. If so, just hang in there with us. Today, we are going over the schedule that was released today. We're gonna go over it in segments. So if you do have the schedule, follow along because you might want to get your copy out, I should say, because once we put it up on the screen, it's gonna be kind of hard to read unless you want that 80-inch at home. Um, you know, Jarrell, Jeff, how you guys doing since you was last seen? Shout out to the chat and the silent listeners, replay gang, of course.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Jeff, Steph, happy to be here.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Let's get going. 69 days till opening day. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. The schedule dropped today. The Knicks are very popular. The NBA have the new TV contract, so then they'll be on NBC, they'll be on Prime, they'll be on Peacock. I believe somebody said, forgive me, I read the Twitter post, I don't know who said it. 43% of the Knicks games are nationally televised. Um, that's significant. All right, that's significant. Anyway, let's get into it. Jarrell, put it up.
Mhm.
It's gonna be small. It's gonna be small. Hopefully you have your own schedule and you're following along at home.
Hold on. Boom, boom. Wait, hold on.
Take your time.
It won't go up there. Oh, there you go. But yeah, it won't pop us on there.
All right.
I gotta change the
All
layout.
right. Let me see if I can change the layout. Oh, let's see if we can change the layout. No, that's just me. I like that layout though. No, I'm kidding. Let's see.
I like that.
I guess
How
that was
about
cool.
how about this one?
That
This
was
one is
I
cool.
guess. Yeah, unless you could get us on the
Yeah,
side. It
If
really
it
don't
works
matter.
for everybody else.
I can't get us on the side. I like the side view
Man,
actually, but this is where we are. So
cool.
for those following along, I kind of broke the schedule down by stretches. So we'll talk about each stretch. Stretch number one is just the two games to open the season at home versus Cleveland and then Boston. Obviously Boston is not who they used to be without KP, without Tatum, without Drew. Drew Holiday, a different team. Um, so some changes over there. Any thoughts on just stretch number one? To me, I feel like the Knicks should be 2-0 or 1-1. I would take 1-1. I think Cleveland is going to be a tough team, and the Knicks they're not a new team. The core is the same, but new coach, new offense, new defense. Not sure if they're going to hit the ground running like Cleveland did last year or not. So could easily be 2-2, can be 1-1, 0-2 would be unacceptable, even with a new coach, even with new offense and defense. Just thoughts on the first two games.
See, I don't know. I kind of disagree a little bit. Just
Okay.
because since we do have a new coach, I got to shoot him at least a little bell. Like I know Mike Brown is going to be under heavy pressure, and our players are going to be under pressure too. Like it's not just on him. Like these players need to get back to the finals, or at least try to get to the finals from the Eastern Conference Finals. So, I want them to be 2-0. I think we can beat Cleveland and Boston, especially with the injuries Boston have, like you said. But
Mhm.
yeah, if they like the beginning of the season, I'm not gonna jump out the window if we fall short, in games early in the season. We'll see
Okay.
how we'll have to see how training camp comes. We still have another roster spot to fill, so we don't know exactly what the roster is going to be. Um, yeah, like if we go 0-2, I'm not going to be like I'll be a little concerned, but it's not like the end of the world. Like we can get it back.
So you're not going to call for Mike Brown's head.
No, 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 not in the first season. No.
All right, Jeff, your thoughts on just the first two games?
Well, I kind of think we're going to be 2-0, which, take that with a grain of salt. But I think we can beat both of those teams. And the games are at home. And I think sometimes it's good to get a team, early. And we don't know how healthy Darius Garland's going to be coming back for Cleveland. He's, coming off an injury and those sorts of things. So, and first game of the year, national TV, new coach and everything. I think we're going to win the first two games, but I kind of think that we need to take Jarrell's approach from last year and say, let's kind of wait and see where we are after 20, right? Let's not, rock the boat one way or the other. Like if we start fast, don't rock the boat. If we start slow, don't rock the boat. Like, remember, we got waxed by like 8 billion points in game one last year, and we won 50 games, and we ended up beating that team in the first round of the playoffs. So, you can't really read too much into, the first week of the season either way. But I actually think that we'll win the first two, and then I think when we hit the road, it might be a little bit more challenging, even if the competition isn't as stiff.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I remember last year this time, before we even played a game, before the schedule even came out, the Knicks are going to win 60 games because we look good on paper. And right now we do look good. There's optimism in terms of Mike Brown, in terms of his lineups, the rotations, the offensive and defensive schemes. Boston, Indiana has some, injuries. They won't be the same. So this idea for Knicks fans is that we're supposed to win 60. And if we off pace, people start panicking. So it's gonna be an interesting season. I think it's gonna go one of two ways to start. We're either gonna get off rolling, or it might be tough. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. If we get off to a good start and these shows become praise meetings, or we get off to a good start and they become a bad start and they become like therapy, whatever it is, I'm here for it. The next stretch is three road games, no back-to-backs in the next three games. That would be at Miami, at Milwaukee, at Chicago. Milwaukee has changed. Miami has changed actually. Without Butler, I mean, Duncan Robinson. I mean, he was a part of their team. I don't know if he was a huge part of their team, but he's no longer there. Milwaukee is without Dame. Chicago, who knows what they're gonna do with what's the restricted free agent on there? Giddy. Who knows what's going on with what's going on there? But three road games after the two home games. Thoughts on that?
Well, Chicago always gives us fits, no matter how bad they are. Like, it's just something about the Knicks and the Bulls that the quality of the team and the records don't matter. I mean, 2 years ago they took us to overtime for a game for the second overall seed on the East on the line. So, and then we get them back to back there, right? And so I actually think
Right.
Chicago's going to beat us one of those games because I think it's tough to beat a team. Uh, Two nights in a row, even if you are the higher quality team. And then I kind of think, I don't know which is which, but I think we'll split Milwaukee and Miami. So I kind of expect us to be, I know I'm kind of leaked into the third zone there, but I think that we'll be 4-2 after 6 games.
Okay. Okay. Um,
Sorry.
that's fine. I
Mhm.
could easily see the Knicks being on this second stretch 3-0 or 2-1. I don't know. I'm pretty high on the Knicks. I think they're gonna. Obviously, I'm a Knicks fan. If you didn't know, but I just think we're gonna get off to a really good start. I do. So I'm expecting the Knicks to go 3-0, 2-1 during this second stretch. If they go 1-2, I mean, obviously, to Jarrell's point, it's part of the process. But yeah, I wouldn't be too pleased. Jarrell, your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, I am high on us. Um, yeah, I got us 3-0 when it comes to this stretch. Like Jeff said, Chicago is a home and home. With a with a day in between, so it's not a back to back. But yeah, I still got us like from 1 and 2 from like the sections. I got us 5-0. Like section 3 is the one that's gonna be more pivotal for me.
Right. Okay. I like that. You like we going 5-0, but if we go 2-3, I'm not panicking. Is that
Right,
what I'm
exactly.
hearing?
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, chat, what do you say through five? Through the first 5 games, your thoughts. All right. Game game 6 through 12. That is stretch number 3. 7 home games with 2 back-to-backs.
Mhm.
You're at home for from November 2nd to November 14th. Chicago, Washington, Minnesota, Brooklyn, Memphis, Orlando, Miami again. Um, I So when I was breaking up these stretches, I was breaking them up into easy, fair, tough. This is an easy stretch for me, as well. I have the Knicks going 6-1 or 5-2. I think Minnesota will be a tough game. I think Orlando may be a tough game. I'm not sure what's going on with Memphis. But that may be a tough game as well. But I have the Knicks going 5-2. Would I be like super upset if they went 4-3? I would not. But I think the Knicks the Knicks schedule gets so much tougher as we go forward. Like these are the games, even though new coach, new system, like these are the games to pretty much make hay. Thoughts on stretch number 3?
Now, see, for stretch number 3 for me, this is where I see if we do lose a couple games, that's when I think people are going to jump out the window and blame Mike Brown on chemistry issues and stuff like that because they're all at home. And we all know that, the Knicks playing at home isn't always the best experience. Let's just say let's just say it like that. So yeah, I can see us actually falling a couple games that we're not supposed to lose. Like the Brooklyn game, like you said, Minnesota is going to be tough regardless. Uh, Brooklyn, we always play them tough regardless of what their roster looks like. And Memphis and then Orlando is going to be 2 tough games as well. So we have them all at home, but for us, for some reason, home games doesn't automatically mean wins for us. So well, how many games is that? One, two, is 7 games in that stretch?
Yes,
One,
7
two.
games in that stretch, 7
So
home games, 2 back-to-backs.
2 back to back.
Chicago,
So
Chicago, Washington is a back-to-back. Having Washington on the second game of a back-to-back is great. That Memphis Orlando back-to-back is going to be tough, even
right.
though it's at home.
So I think maybe maybe we might lose like 3 of these just because of back to backs. I don't want to say pressure of playing at home, but we play on the road. Seem like we play better on the road than we play at home. So I say we might lose 3 out of these.
What's your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, I kind of agree with Jarrell from the standpoint that Madison Square Garden is the mecca, so we always get these guys who are very average who seem to have these outlier performances at random against us, like a Malik Beasley, for example. Not a bad player, but not like drop 30 on you kind of a player, but the lights of the Garden and the atmosphere tends to give the opponent almost an edge which they shouldn't really have as compared to the Knicks. Like we play there 41 times a year, so it's a little bit different. But I actually think that this is an important stretch. I think we need to at least, at a minimum, go 5-2 in these 7 games. I mean, obviously the season is long and those sorts of things, but losses that mount up in the beginning of the season, it can be just as important as any other stretch of the season, right? So when you get a stretch like this without travel, even if it's back to back, you're not, you shouldn't, you shouldn't be that weary. And I didn't look up whether the other teams are coming off a day off, or if they, in other words, if they have a back to back too, then it's all square as far as that rest perspective. But we should be able to beat Washington regardless. So I think that that's a critical stretch, especially because you've got one of the 2 5-game road trips for the season right after that. So I think it's important to kind of stack some wins right there in case you have struggles on that 5-game road trip that we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's crazy in a sense that the schedule seems easy to me from game 1 to game 23. So segments 1 through 5 I have here as relatively easy compared to the rest of the segments, but they come at a time where the Knicks could be trying to find themselves as a team, right? And then you got Yabusele, you got Clarkson, that you're trying to acclimate, like we talked about, new coach, new scheme. So it should be easy in terms of competition, but it may not be.
Yeah.
But I think part of what we saw last year too was that, the we got off to a slow start in our first 11 games, but then we really picked it up after that, and that from that point almost to January, we were just kind of like an offensive machine where we were just eviscerating everyone. And so I kind of feel like even if it may take defenses a little bit to kind of figure out what the right recipe is to solve this version of the Knicks. So maybe we do run into a situation where after about 10 games or so, we really start to see this offense click on all cylinders, and then there'll be an adjustment period for the NBA till they kind of figure out, okay, what's the best counter to what the Knicks are doing, and then maybe it evens out or levels out a little bit. I don't know that that'll be the case, but I could definitely see that happening. What happened last year, and I think we're a much more potent offensive team this year than we were last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then that's where Mike Brown comes in. Like, what's the adjustment to the adjustment, right? When they started putting their center on Josh Hart, putting their small forward or wing on Cat, what was our adjustment to that? And so to your point, we'll see, if it comes to that point, what's the counter? What's the counter um going to be? Um so through 12 games, the Knicks 50% of them, 6 of the 12 will be on national TV. Yeah, the Knicks are hot. The Knicks it's been a long time. I wonder, where does this stand historically? Even in the 90s, I'm not sure the Knicks were on TV this much.
Not as many games were televised back then, so
That's
probably
true.
not.
That's
You
true.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but percentage wise though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that 100%.
True.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to segment number 4, where we have 5 road games. So 7 games at home, take care of business because you're going on the road for 5. So this is from Monday, November 17th through Wednesday, November 26th, at Miami, over to Dallas, back to Florida to play Orlando, then back to the East. Well, Orlando is Southeast, to Brooklyn, and then out to Charlotte. Maybe there's something going, concerts or something going on, because they could have did that a little better. But Miami, at Dallas, at Orlando, at Brooklyn, at Charlotte. We will have played Miami 3 times in the first 17 games, right? October 26th, November 14th, and November 17th. That's actually a back to back.
Right.
Friday, home versus Miami, 2 days off. Then we fly out and play them again. Um, yeah. Thoughts on that 5 game stretch, and just travel wise? Yeah.
Travel wise, well, for me, I think I'm starting to look at this team differently than a lot of people, because I have more faith in us on road games than at home.
Okay.
So until they show me, just from last year, how we played last season,
Mhm.
so until they show me different, like I know a lot of people will say this is a tough schedule, and well, this stretch right here, and with the
Mhm.
travel and stuff, but I actually feel good about games at home, especially since the two is like it's Orlando, Brooklyn, and Charlotte. Like they're all on the East Coast. It's right before Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel good about this stretch. Like I don't have us losing any of these games.
5-0. Well, I do have us going 5-0 or um 4-1. But I do think Dallas will be a challenge. I think Orlando will be, a
It will.
challenge as well. Like you said, Brooklyn games are always tough. Who's even on Brooklyn now? Oh, Michael Porter Jr., right?
Like Porter
For
Jr. Yep.
Cam Thomas, if they do sign him back, right? He's a restricted free agent. Still have Nick Claxton. Okay.
Man, Brooklyn took us to the brink with like players from the G League before, so like it really doesn't matter. Like it's just a rivalry period. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that getting Miami 3 times early is probably better because Spolstra teams tend to really improve in the second half of the season. So it might be a good thing to get them out of the way before they really hit their stride. I think a lot of times defensive teams take longer to gel. And as far as 5 game roadies are concerned, this one's pretty nice. I mean, you could consider 3 of those games road games in name only, right? Like Miami's going to be a pro Knicks crowd. Orlando definitely going to have a good share of Knicks fans there, and Brooklyn is is definitely going to be a pro Knicks crowd also. So from that standpoint, Orlando and Dallas are the best teams in that stretch, and I think
Mhm.
that we could lose both of those games because if I'm not mistaken, the Dallas game. Let's see. Let me look at something here right quick. Make sure I have my dates right. So the Brooklyn game's on my birthday, so we may lose that one as well. But I think that those are um, so I think we should at least go 3-2 in that stretch, though. I don't see any reason why we should. I mean, you can pick which games that you want to, but we tend to play better on the road, as Jarrell said. I mean, we were 27-14 at home and 24-17 on the road last year, so we don't really play better on the road, but we play well on the road, and so. I think that will work in our favor. And like I said, just based on the cities where the games are and kind of how they're spaced out. I mean, you have the 17th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 24th, and the 26th. So there's no back-to-backs in there. So hopefully not really any trap games involved, except maybe that Charlotte game where it's the 5th game with all that travel. But even so, like I said, it's early in the year yet. Hopefully they play up to snuff, and I think that they should go 3-2 at a minimum in that stretch.
Yeah. Who's on Dallas? I know Kyrie is hurt.
Yeah, D'Angelo
And
Russell is going to be
okay.
filling in that spot
right.
until he gets
Yeah.
healthy. But they have Cooper Flag, they have Anthony Davis. They've got PJ Washington. They've got Gafford. They've got
Clay.
So they've still
Clay.
got a whole lot of good. Clay Thompson. They still have a roster full of talented, even if they are older players. So I would think that's going to be a tough game, and they always seem to get up to play the Knicks when we come to town. So,
and plus they have the coach that we wanted.
You think the players are going to be motivated to win? You think that's going to be a factor in their team being motivated?
Nah, I was just talking, man. Like I know that we wanted Jason Kidd. I even wanted Jason Kidd, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be a factor. I don't think the players care at all.
I would agree with that. Let's get to segment 5. Then I want to talk about segment 1 through 5 before we get to what I think is going to be a tough part of the schedule. So in segment number 5, 4 or 5 are at home, and they have one back-to-back at Boston, Charlotte. Again, if you're going to have a back-to-back, having Charlotte the second game of the back-to-back at home helps. That's December 2nd and December 3rd. So in that segment, 4 or 5, like I said, at home. So they'll play Milwaukee, they'll play Toronto, they'll fly out to Boston, then they come back for Charlotte, Utah, and Orlando again. This is like the 15th time we're playing Orlando. This is the 3rd time we're playing Orlando from November 12th to December 7th. We would have played Orlando 3 times. I mean, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
Orlando and Miami out of the way in the first 20 ball games.
Yep.
No more Florida games for us.
Right. Thoughts on this segment? What's your thoughts on Milwaukee? Like, who are they? I mean, they have Giannis, they have Miles Turner. Who's playing point guard for them?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know they picked up somebody, but I don't remember who.
Yeah, I had to look at their roster. I don't know.
Okay, we'll start doing roster comparisons next week for the Eastern Conference. But thoughts on this stretch: Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Charlotte, Utah, who traded everybody. Collins, I think, is on the Clippers. We have Clarkson.
Yep.
They traded. What's the guard, the small guard that played for Cleveland?
Colin Sexton.
Sexton.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he's no longer on the team. I don't know who's going to be rolling into the Garden, but just your thoughts on 4-5 at home.
Well, the section 5 is really pivotal for me because this is where the 20 game mark stands, and like you said, this is a pretty easy schedule that we have for the first 20. So
I think so.
We should win all of these games too. Like I have to look at Milwaukee again, but I still think we're better than anybody that we're playing in this stretch. I think Orlando is going to be tough regardless where we play them. But like you said, it's going to be the 3rd time that we play them in a short time. So you never know how that game is going to go. But yeah, I think, we're going to win most of these games also.
Yeah, I think 4-2 at a minimum in that stretch. I think you got to take advantage of your home games. Utah and Charlotte are not that great. Toronto may be better than they were last year with Brandon Ingram in the fold. And they have some talent. So we'll see what they look like. Milwaukee's backcourt, I still don't think they have an answer for Jalen Brunson. So I think you got to find a way to get 4 out of those 6 at a minimum.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I would agree with that. So the Knicks would have played 23 games through December 7th, right? The Orlando game, only 9 on the road, right? So that's what, 13, 14 games 14 games at home to start the season, only 9 on like the Knicks need to make hay during the first 23 games of the season. Just your thoughts on that?
That's spot on. I think
Right.
I think we need to be 15-8 at a minimum. At a minimum. Through that stretch of games because I think it gets significantly tougher from that point forward. So yeah, stack wins as much as you can, and hopefully they
Mhm.
come into camp ready to go and they hit the ground running and we stay healthy and we just obliterate these teams.
Yeah, I think they only have three back to backs in this stretch to open the season.
And we have 10 in the 6 through 10. Like, and there's
Yeah.
13 total, I think. So the
Yeah.
back to backs are coming, but really, from a big picture standpoint, we have 2 5-game road trips all season. That's really
Hmm.
pretty good. We've had 7 8 game road trips before, so to just have
Hmm.
2 5-game trips and the West Coast trips, the way that they work themselves out, aren't as bad as they potentially could be.
Right.
I think the schedules from that standpoint sets up nicely.
Yeah. And then there's a break. The end season tournament.
Hmm.
What does that say? December 9th, 10th, 13th, and 16 is the 16th is the knockout rounds, and then December 11th, 12th, 14th, 15th are regular season games. And when is the cup itself?
That week,
It is that week. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, they probably haven't scheduled it yet.
Okay.
I think it's
All right.
the 16th.
All right. So the Knicks, if they are not in the tournament, will have a nice, or whoever's not in the tournament will have a nice break from the 7th through
But our
the
our
18th. Hmm?
region is Chicago, Miami, Charlotte, and Milwaukee. So it's
Oh,
entirely possible that we go 4-0 in our um, bracket, whatever they call it, and then it's just a question of whether we win that first round. You know what I mean? How far we continue, but uh, you know,
chances are we'll be in the mix, basically, is what you're saying, Jeff.
yeah, I think we'll make it at least to the knockout round. I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And there are regular season games in that stretch. So if you don't make the tournament, it's not like you'll be off that long, right? 11, 12, 14, 15 are regular season
Hmm.
games. Um, on Deals NYK, are we going to that Washington game? Um, have to see. I am actually going to be, I was really waiting for the schedule to come out because I am going to be going to about 5 road games, if not more, um, to watch the Knicks and basically explore the city. So I'm usually
Nice.
off Friday through Monday. So on those weekend games, I picked a few of them. I'm gonna fly out, explore that city, watch the Knick game. Looking forward to it. Washington wasn't on the list, but I don't have a problem going to, not only because I've been there a few times, but I don't have a problem doing that. And I wonder if shout out to Sim, nothing but Knicks and BK, if he's going to, you know, um, schedule something, I will definitely be there. I'll talk about where I'm gonna be. So if anybody is in that part of the country, definitely let's get together. Um, so yeah, I agree. First 23 games, 14 of them at home. Yeah, I need the Knicks. What did you say, Jeff? 15-8
15-8 at a minimum.
Yeah,
That's what I said. Yeah.
at a minimum.
makes sense.
Minimum. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. All right. Let me just check in with the chat. Let me take my breath before we get to segment number. Catch my breath before we get to segment number 6. That looks like a load. Um, all righty. JJ says the Hawks roster is super scary.
Mm.
Super JJ. I agree. I do think they have a solid roster. You know, when people talk about this easy path, there are going to be teams that's going to step into those spots vacated by Boston and Indiana. Will they be as good as those teams? You know, I'm not sure, but Atlanta has a chance, and they have a good coach too, in my opinion. Jalen Johnson is a star. I really like Jalen Johnson. He's coming back off of an injury. Building blocks. Isn't Sexton in Charlotte? Is he? Is that where he is?
I
Yeah,
think
I
so.
think that's right.
Yep.
Building blocks.
Okay. All right. Love the humor. Doc Rivers will start as point guard.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that is funny. Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Milwaukee. Atlanta will be better than Indy. Kerry Cox. Yeah, yeah. I like Atlanta. Trey, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, KP, and I don't know who. Oh, and I don't know if he'll start, but he played for Minnesota last year. Nikhil Alexander Walker, is that his name?
Yes.
Oh, he went there. I didn't know he went there.
Yeah, I like him. You know,
Yeah, he's
more of a
cool.
defensive player.
Yep.
But I mean, you got him on the wing, you got Dyson Daniel on the wing, you got both of those guys surrounding Trey Young. You know, it's pretty all right. Shout out to Anthony D snuck in there.
Salute.
Oh, and
How you
Kevin
doing?
Porter Jr. is listed as the starting point guard for the Milwaukee Bucks, if anybody was
Mm,
curious.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr. is their backcourt.
okay, okay. Does anyone know? Kerry Cox wants to know how long will Kyrie be out? Is he out for the season?
Yeah,
I
he
think
got
he's
hurt.
It,
supposed to. I think he's on Mitchell Robinson timetable. Like, I think he's
mm,
going to be reevaluated. You know what I mean? You know how he was
Right.
last year, like in, January or whatever. I think he's going to be out for a significant portion of the season. That's my understanding, but I could be completely wrong. I don't follow Dallas or anything. That was just my understanding, and the timetable based on when he had the injury and how long he's been out. It usually takes at least a year to come back from that type of injury, assuming everything is, on schedule with your rehab. So I would expect that he comes back kind of February ish, maybe, but I could be wrong about that.
When did he
yeah,
get hurt? He got hurt late in the season, didn't he?
I
When
believe
did
Yeah,
so.
second half of the season for sure.
Right, right. So yeah, I wouldn't expect Kyrie to be playing at all this year.
Yeah. Shout out to G Money. Appreciate you dropping by. He said, I say we win 55 games. Yeah, the panel, we're gonna give our um, win total, what we think the Knicks will win at the after going through the schedule, but that's about kind of where I am.
Yeah.
Um, JJ, we talk about this all the time. I'm invested still in the regular season, but not getting too high or low until the playoffs. Remember, like, oh, we haven't beaten a really good team, and the Knicks marched all the way to the Eastern Conference finals. I mean, it
Yep.
was somewhat of a struggle past Detroit,
Mhm.
to improbable comeback wins, 20-point wins, Boston versus Boston, but it's just it's just different. The playoffs are just different.
Right. I pretty much have the same exact mindset as JJ when it comes to that.
Yeah. Um, all right, let's move into, so we just went through the first 23 games of the season, 9 of them on the road, 23 at home. Now we're getting into at least one of two of the toughest stretches, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, Stretch number 6 that starts December 18th and ends on January 15th. This is just how I split it up. You guys may see it different.
Mhm.
Um, 12 of 16 games are on the road, including a 4-game West Coast trip and 2 back-to-backs. So that's 16 games. I have the Knicks going. Well, anyway. So back-to-back number 1 is at Indiana, then home for Philly. That's December 18th and 19th. Back-to-back number 2 is Atlanta and Philly, January 2nd and 3rd. And back-to-back number 3 is at Sacramento, at Golden State, January 14th and 15th. And that 4-game road trip is Phoenix, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State. I mean,
Mhm.
if you got to play 4 teams, I don't. This is not bad. Um, just thoughts on the stretch overall, the back to backs, the West Coast trip.
I think section 6. I'm gonna deem this section like the identity section. Like
Mm,
we're like
I like that.
after like the 23 games. I think this is the section that we find out what type of team that we have, because last year around New
That's a great
Year's,
point.
that's when our team kind of flipped. We don't know what happened exactly, but obviously something happened, locker room wise. Um, so yeah, to me, this is like our identity. We'll find out what type of team that we have, like when it comes to these games, like the back to backs. Um, they're obviously going to be tough. At least the Philly and the Atlanta one is going to be at home. And the West Coast trip is always tough. But I think, like I said earlier, I think we played well on away.
Hmm.
We played West Coast pretty well last year. So I still am hopeful, but this is the part of the schedule that I think that we're actually going to find out what type of team that we have.
I think that's a great point. I just want to go through the teams for those who may be listening and not watching.
Mhm.
Um, so it is 16 games. Again, 12 on the road, at Indiana, then Philly, Miami, at Minnesota. I think that's going to be a tough game. Cleveland at home, at Atlanta, at New Orleans, at San Antonio, back home for Atlanta and Philly, then Detroit. Don't sleep on Detroit. Somebody in the chat said, don't sleep on Detroit. Home for the Clippers, and then at Phoenix, at Portland, at Sacramento, at Golden State. I think that's a low. That's not even the toughest, but that is one of the toughest stretches of the season. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, I think a big thing in here is what Philadelphia looks like, right? Is this Philly
Yeah,
with a healthy Joel Embiid and has their players on the roster, or are these guys injured and we're talking about playing like their second and third team guys, in which case it might be a favorable matchup in a second night of a get back to back. Comparatively speaking, I think that stretch beginning with the road game in Detroit, that could be brutal. And they're having Atlanta twice is not going to be easy, and
yep,
San Antonio on the road is going to be a challenge because Wemby is tough. So this is kind of the don't get any holes in the boat section. You know what I mean? Just stay afloat. If you can go 8-8, 10-6, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
just, not sink your season. I think that's fine. But having your only home game from January 5th to January 15th be the Clippers, who are going to be very good, that's
right.
a tough stretch right there. Even though somebody in the chat, I forget who, said we always do well on the West Coast, and we tend to do well. And I think as far as West Coast trips are concerned, that one is pretty manageable. I actually think the stretch where we play Atlanta, Cleveland on Christmas, and then Atlanta, New Orleans, San Antonio, and then Atlanta again is maybe tougher than the West Coast trip. That's
Yeah,
a really meaty part of the schedule in there around Christmas. And you've got at Minnesota a couple days before then, and that's not going to be a cakewalk either. So, that middle section there is going to be really tricky to navigate, which makes stacking wins in the early part of the season
Pivotal.
even more important, right? Because if you're 18-5 or something like that, I'm just throwing a number out there. But if you're 18-5 during that stretch, and let's say you struggle to 6-10 or whatever, you're still 24-15 in really good really good shape from an overall perspective. So I think it would behoove the Knicks to really knock it out of the park in the first 5 segments, because segment 6 has a lot of difficult games in it.
Yeah. To your point, you're playing Minnesota that Tuesday, and you come home to Cleveland Thursday, and then you're back out 2 days later at Atlanta, at New Orleans, at San Antonio, back home for Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be good, in my opinion. I'm not sure what's going on in New Orleans. Will Brandon Ingram, hold up and be healthy? McCullough is no longer there. Who knows what's going on with Zion, and whatever's going on now, by that time it could be something totally different. This is a tough stretch, and I like what Jarrell said. Like, this is the identity stretch. The Knicks are going to be challenged, um, you know, during this time. I mean, it's
So,
going to be interesting to see how they hold up.
Steph, real quick, Ingram
Mhm.
is in Toronto right now. He got
Oh,
traded.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. I
so
forgot about that.
we got to worry about him out there.
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I forgot about that. There was something else I wanted to say um, about this stretch. Is this the first time we're playing? This is the first time we're playing Indiana, right? The rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they're not going to be the
Yeah.
same team. Halliburton is no longer there. Turner is no longer there. But trust me, we're going to get their best effort
Yep.
in that game. The janitor is going to be ready. We're going to get there. We're going to get their best effort. And to your point, Jeff, who knows with Philadelphia? Listen, on paper, if Philadelphia is healthy, they could be a top 4 team. I mean, Embiid, Paul George, Maxey, whatever they're going to do with Grimes, if he's able to, I mean, his role will be different, right? With those guys being back, but if he can just knock down shots and be aggressive, he'll help them as well. They had a young guard who was playing well for them. I think it was a rookie, and then um, he was injured, and I think that was the end of his season. I don't think he played the rest of the way. So Philly is mostly about injuries in terms of how good or bad they'll be. San Antonio, I know they signed Fox to the max contract with Wemby. Wemby was great in his first year. I remember when we did the fantasy draft. Was it you, Jarrell? Took Wemby in the first round. I said,
Yep. Yep. Sure did.
he didn't even shoot one basket. Yeah, he taking him in the
Sure
first.
did.
He had a great season and a great fantasy basketball season. As well, and he'll be better. Did San Antonio sign anyone else?
They got Dylan Harper, second overall in the NBA draft. So,
Right.
Yeah.
In addition to Rookie of the Year Steph Castle from last year, and
Will be
they've
better.
got
Yeah.
Fox back, and I think they still have Harrison Barnes. They've got Devin Vassell. They've got Jeremy Sohan. They've got Wemby. They have a very talented roster over there. I don't think it's I don't. It's not elite competitive yet, but they are definitely a team that could present some problems. I mean, we saw what Wemby did on Christmas Day to us last year. That was a nip and tuck nail biter game. And then when we played them the second time, they beat us because Marcus Velli went like 19 for 16 from the field or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot about
in
that.
6 minutes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And we've got a couple of chats, by the way, Steph, from Jason
Yes.
Benjamin. I thought we'd make sure we get those before we get
Yes.
too far afield.
Okay, let me just make one more point, and it's just that this will be the first time. Usually, we play Detroit 7 times before like December, but this will be the first time seeing Detroit. When is this? We'll be at Detroit January 5th, unless I missed it earlier. I don't think so.
Nah,
It'll
you're
be our
right.
first game against Detroit January 5th.
Mhm.
That was a tough series for us. I'm pretty sure they left that series thinking that, they blew it, right? Or the refs blew it. And they had an opportunity to win it. So I think Detroit is going to be better. Beasley is no longer there, but Duncan Robinson is there from
Jaden
Miami. They
Ivey's
have a
coming
good
back from injury too.
Jaden Ivory is
That
coming back.
he's a 20-pointer game scorer when he's healthy, so that could help them tremendously as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they lost Schroeder, if I'm not mistaken. Schroeder. If I'm not mistaken. So that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game for the Knicks at Detroit.
You
They're
know they
gonna,
have it circled on their schedule too. After losing to us in the playoffs last year, they're going to come out angry and ready to, send a message and prove a point that they're much better and that they can go toe to toe with us.
and they'll be better.
Yeah,
You can't tell me they haven't grown up since that playoff series didn't help them grow. So they will be better. Jeff, can you do the super chats? Because I'm on a small screen.
sure. Let me find the first one here. Here we go.
It's automatically
Okay.
okay
So
in
the
the
first
comment section.
one from
Mhm.
Jason Benjamin, we are battle tested. The Knicks can hang with any team in the league. They almost got to the finals with a roster put together before camp. 55 plus wins. From your lips to God's ears, Jason. I love the optimism.
Appreciate you, Jason Benjamin.
Yeah.
Always rocking with us, always contributing in one way or another. And then he also said that Clarkson and Yabusele signing is still underrated. Those are big additions to our bench. They replaced Cam and Precious for under $10 million, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great um point. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I can't wait till we do, the show on the roster and minutes. It's gonna be interesting to see how the minutes play out, but I like both of those guys. And listen, hopefully they'll be better defensively. I know there's a lot of talk that the Knicks have leaned into offense, and I think they have. I think they should. But just because they didn't play defense where they were doesn't mean they're not capable of playing defense or capable of at least being solid team defenders, right? So it remains to be seen. Shout out to Shy Powell in the house. Knicks Real Talk,
Ooh.
one half of Knicks Real Talk. Appreciate you. Um, Anything else on this identity segment for the Knicks?
Mhm.
Nope. All right. Let's move on to segment 7. It's like the Knicks are like home away, home away. you know, home for 7, away for 5. Home for 4, 5, away for what? 10 of 17 or whatever it is. But 7, stretch number 7, they're home for 7 of 10 games. And they have 2 back to back. Hold on here. So the back-to-back number 1 is Sacramento, then at Toronto, January 27th and 28th, and
Mhm.
then at Washington, home to Denver, May 3rd, February 3rd, February 4th. And during that stretch, we are playing Phoenix, Dallas, Brooklyn at home. Then we're at Philly, home for Sacramento, at Toronto, home for Portland and the Lakers. Then that back to back I just talked about, Washington, in Denver. So that's 10 games, 7 of them home. Man, I think the Knicks might have to make up here for whatever happened in segment 6. They'll have an opportunity 7-3, 8-2, man. Let's get it. Thoughts on this segment?
Man, after section 6, like 7 is a breeze. Like you already said it. Like we almost could skip this section and go straight to 8. Like I don't really have anything for this section. Like I said, like 6 I think is more pivotal for the season, and this is just it's almost like a reward for 6. You know what I mean? Like the teams that we play in this section, like you said, we can go 8-2.
Yeah. Thoughts on, and then we'll get to Jeff. Like I
Hmm.
think Phoenix is what? Who's in Phoenix now? Because remember, Aiton left. He's in the Lakers. He's with the
Right.
Lakers now. Durant is in Houston.
Hmm.
Booker is still there. So they're going to be a different team. We already went over Dallas roster.
Hmm.
Sacramento. Who's with Sacramento? Fox is gone. I know Sabonis is there. Who's the point guard in Sacramento?
Sabonis is still there. And I've been hearing like trade rumors that he might not even stay all season or be there in the beginning of the season.
They have
So we'll
Veen and
see.
DeRozan and Sacktown, don't
Yes,
they?
Yeah, that's
yes.
true. I forgot
That's
about
true.
Levine there. Yeah, and what Jalen Green? Where'd Jalen Green go? He went to the Suns, so they have Jalen Green and Booker.
They have Jalen Green. Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Toronto, Quick should be back. Barrett
Uh-huh.
is
Keon
there.
Ellis is the starter at the 1 for the Kings.
Keon
I could be
Ellis.
mistaken
Okay,
on that.
Okay.
okay. All right. What do you think about? Okay, we'll get to Jeff. Then Portland, who we just played in segment 6, we'll see them again. Phoenix, we just played. We'll see them
Uh-huh.
as well. Then Washington, Denver. Jeff, your thoughts on segment 7?
We got to get 7 and 7. That's my thing. I think the Lakers game will be tough because the Lakers are always a problem when they come to the
Yeah.
Garden. Denver is tough, but we have a decent history of beating them. Dallas we've talked about. Philly's going to be a question mark, but I think you find a way to cobble together 7 wins out of 10 in that next stretch.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
think Denver will be a challenge always. Any team with the Joker, um, will be a challenge. Um, but yeah, if you got 10 games at home, excuse me, 7 of 10 games at home, you got to make hay. You got to make hay because stretch number 8 to me is tougher than stretch number 6
it.
that we talked about. Um, 12 of the 17 games in that stretch are on the road, another 4-game West Coast trip, and then 4 back-to-backs um, during that stretch. Indiana, then at Philly, February 10th
Uh-huh.
and 11th, back-to-back number 2. Houston, then at Chicago, February 21st and 22nd. Back-to-back number 3 at Toronto, then out to Toronto to OKC.
Uh-huh.
No,
OKC's
March
at
3rd.
home. Toronto to New York.
Oh, okay, go okay.
Oh,
Whew,
right, right,
yes.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah. At Toronto, then home to OKC. Um, March 3rd to and March 4th. And back to
Uh-huh.
back number 4 is at the Lakers, at the Clippers, March 8th and 9th. That's part of the 4-game road trip of Lakers, Clippers, Utah. Basically 3-game West Coast trip. Um, and then you ended at Indiana before coming home for 2.
Uh-huh.
And of those 17 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 of them will be nationally televised.
Steph, you
11 of the 17, yes.
you skipped 2 games.
Did
Did
where
you
did I skip the?
between 8 and 9? Do you want to add them to 9 because 9 has um less
Yeah,
teams?
we can. I just left them there because I felt, I was gonna say the Knicks are home for 2
Uh-huh.
before stretch number 9, where six of those 9
Uh,
are on the road.
I got you. I
Uh,
got you.
but thoughts on 8. If number 6 is our identity, by 8, we should be rounding into shape. Hopefully, this is around the trade deadline, also, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm. I actually
February
think,
6th.
Yeah, the trade deadline is right at the beginning of it, right after that Detroit game, I think, or
yeah,
right before it, maybe. I think the deadline may be the 5th, so I think it's that Thursday before we start this stretch.
yeah, and definitely pivotal because this is the All-Star break section. Um, so yeah, it definitely rivals six. Like this is the meat of our schedule. Like some can argue that eight might be more difficult than six, depending on what these teams look like. All the teams are going to be pretty much set after the All-Star break, so you get everybody's heaviest punch at this point. So yeah, eight is going to definitely be tough.
Yeah, we got Detroit in there. We got Detroit twice. We got Cleveland. Cleveland is in there. OKC is in there. Um, the Lakers, the Clippers. Yeah. Houston. I don't know if I mentioned Houston. Houston is in there as well. Jeff,
Well,
Right.
your
that's the
thoughts?
crazy part about it. You mentioned all the road games, but every home game is a tough one.
Yep.
They got the home games during that stretch are Indiana, Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, and Oklahoma City.
Right.
Hmm.
Like even the home games are not gimmies by any stretch of the imagination. And then you got all those
That
road
is
games. But
true.
the good news is we tend to be a really good road team. So I don't think we can just automatically say, oh, we write it off or whatever. You do have the All-Star break in there, which is kind of going to help. It doesn't quite cut it in half, but it is going to help some. Um, but at Denver, at the Lakers, at the Clippers is really tough of itself. And then Utah is always a nightmare place to play just because of the altitude. And then you've got the Pacers who are our nemesis. So even without Halliburton, that's going to be tough. It seems like this is the stretch of the season where we play Indiana 18 times.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. This is 12 of 17. I don't know. I think I was kind of generous. I had the Knicks going 10 and 7. Um,
I take that
this
and run to the bank as fast as I can. If we go 10 and 7 in that stretch, that's an outstanding sign for this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you brought up a good point. I didn't even recognize the home games. Road games are always tough, regardless of the competition.
Mhm.
But you're coming home for Indiana, you're coming home for Detroit and Houston, you're coming home for San Antonio. Okay, like that's really, really tough.
Yep.
And then the two home games after the 5-game trip are Golden State and Indiana.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch. And then you head into stretch number 9, where 6 of 9 is on the road. But it doesn't, the teams don't seem, that daunting, but still, like 8 and 9 is a lot of road games.
Yeah, we had all of our home games in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, from
Basically.
from April 6th, from February 6th to April 6th, we have 18 road games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. We're really loaded up for the home games at the beginning. But you know
Yeah,
what?
and
I kind of believe in this
hey,
team, and I think that we'll be hitting our stride then, though. So that may be good for a good time for us to have all these tough competitive games and just
Right.
because that's what makes you better. That's what forges you into playoff readiness is being able to go through that crucible where iron sharpens iron, and that's how you get stronger. So I kind of am glad that at about the 50 game mark is kind of when the schedule picks up.
Yep.
it really does pick up. In segment 9, I mean, well, OKC and Houston again. I think we played them in segment 8. So you have them again. You have Memphis. Who's on Memphis? Memphis slated to be a really good team this year?
They took a step backwards because of the Desmond Bain trade, I know, to
Hmm.
Orlando. Um, So from that standpoint, I don't know. Is John Morant still good? I mean, I don't know. Like after the injury, he's not the same player to me. He doesn't have the same explosiveness. He hasn't been a very good finisher. So I'm not sure that Memphis is the prince that was promised from a couple of years ago. But Jaren Jackson Jr. is still a really good player. So
Didn't he get hurt?
yeah, actually he did, but I don't know how long he's out for.
Right, because he got hurt like the day of or the day after he signed the contract, right? It was something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He was hurt before. He just didn't say nothing. No, we stop.
He was keeping it on the low. So
He went trying to walk in that office trying to sign that contract.
Yeah, I mean some pretty easy teams, Brooklyn, Washington, not sure what's going on with New Orleans, Charlotte, Chicago, I think Atlanta's going to be a tough team. But you got Washington at home, you got New Orleans at home, you got Chicago at home. Like those are your 3 home games. You got to win those.
Yep. I think
You
that
have to win
Atlanta
those.
game gonna mean something. I can't wait to
I
play
think he
Atlanta.
can go 5-4 or 6-3 in that stretch. And the other thing that to remember with the Atlanta game is you're starting to get toward the end of the season there, and they could be resting players. We could be resting players. We don't know what seeding is going to. Those end of the season games can kind of be wonky sometimes, like right, because you're expecting this big battle, and then they don't have anything to play for, so they're resting their starters, or you know what I mean, that you can kind of run into that toward the end of the season, and I'm not saying that we will, but I just know that in seasons past it's kind of like when you get into April, you never know quite what team you're going to be seeing on the court for either side.
Right. And then lastly, before we give our predictions for the season, we end on a 3 games at home. This schedule is like home, away, home, away. 3
Right.
games at home: Boston, Toronto, and Charlotte. So 2 of those games are division rivals. To your point, who will those teams be playing for anything? Will the Knicks, you never know how things shape up. Like you want to say, well, the Knicks probably would have won 58 games by then. Okay. But seeding matters as well. And if there's an opportunity for them to move up in seeding, we may still be playing our guys. But that's how we close it out. Boston, Toronto, and Charlotte. I think the Knicks should be 3-0. Figure it out. Figure it out. Yeah. All right. Win total? What's your range of wins for the Knicks?
I think I'm gonna just go with the same thing I said last year. I think last year I gave them I said like 54 to 58 or something like that, or maybe 55 to 58. It was around there, so I'll go like mid 50s.
Okay. Jeff?
I may get some tomatoes for this, but I'm kind of in the 50 to 52 range. Okay. I'm a little bit concerned about our depth at the point guard position. I think Jordan Clarkson is kind of going to fill that role. If Jalen misses some time, I'm not really sure how that's going to go. And at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned with our depth at the 5 spot as well. Not so much Cat, but where is that? Is Mitchell Robinson going to be healthy and playing a bunch of games, or is he going to, miss his usual 40 or so? And then does Huck Porty come in and step in and do, what he's supposed to? I still think we're going to win 50 games, which is awesome. That's what we did last year. And we were able to parlay that to the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think that, we also have a new coach, and it's going to take maybe a minute to kind of figure things out with him. So, we'll see how it goes, but I'm 50 to 52, I think is where I'm at.
Okay.
Um, Gerald?
Oh, I already said I said
Oh, you already said
55 to
55.
yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
55 to 58 ish.
yeah. I have them 54 to 56. But to your point, Jeff, the Knicks were healthy last year. Um, Towns has a significant injury history. He was relatively healthy, or he played, he played with he had some injuries, but he was able to play with them. Um, OG, history, injury history. He was
True.
healthy last year. Hopefully the Knicks, this happens again for the Knicks, and those guys stay relatively healthy. Was a lot of injuries around the NBA. If the Knicks get hit with the injury bugs, yeah, you're right. We might be 48 to 52.
True.
Because the depth behind Towns is, Mitchell Robinson, Huck Porty, and Yabusele. And if Towns goes down, knock on wood, that just changes how we play. Changes a lot, we would definitely have to lean into defense then. I would think. But I think if the Knicks stay relatively healthy, have them like 54 to 56. I have them finishing first or second in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland is still a bona fide team. Even with Garland out. Who's running the who did they pick up to run the point for them in his absence?
I don't remember.
Oh, from Charlotte, Ball, Lonzo. From Chicago, sorry. Lonzo.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Lonzo.
Yeah, they got
Lonzo.
Lonzo
Lonzo.
Ball. Yeah, you're right. That's
Lonzo Ball.
tough. That's a nice pickup.
That's a nice pickup. I wanted that for the Knicks.
Right, yeah, me too.
I wanted that for the Knicks.
So did I.
Um, because I still think, for me, to me, it's an issue. Shout out to Freezy. I was on his show over the weekend, and the Knicks need somebody who can set it up. Who can? What do we need right now? And he said, "You mean floor general? Oh yeah, that's the word. That's the word. Like, McBride and Clarkson, can run the offense, behind Brunson. I think the question comes down to, do you think the Knicks need just somebody who can run an offense, who can score, or if the Knicks need a floor general behind Brunson? And I think the Knicks need a floor general. Or I would like to see the Knicks get a floor general behind Brunson. But this is it. Um, any overall thoughts on the schedule?
You see how times have changed? Like all of us said the Knicks was like the low was what? You said 48. The high I
If
said
there's
50.
injury, if with injuries, if no injuries, I got 54, 56.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like the range, you said that like that's the floor. The floor is 48 if we have injuries. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like think about what we talk about. None of us sound excited though,
Yeah.
because it is what it is when it comes to the regular season. Like we're ready for the playoffs. Like the way that we lost, we're ready to get back to that point. It's just that we just got to be patient and get to that point, and or hope that we even get to that point. But to say that the floor is 48, yeah, just as a fan base, I don't think like we're excited because the season is about to start. But yeah, we're ready for the playoffs. We want to see what we're gonna do moving forward when it comes with the new coach and how we can get to the finals. I want the regular season to start. I'm a little excited, but yeah, I'm ready for like the end already.
Yeah. Because I think we've seen over the years that you could have a questionable, regular season, not beat any of the good elite teams, and then get into the playoffs and play really well, or you can have a
Yep,
108 win season like the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then even though they had some injuries, go out in the second, in the second round. So
yep.
The playoffs is just a different. It's just a different animal. I'm just interested in the process in the regular season. But you're right. There's no guarantees, regardless of how we finish um, in that
But what I
time.
like about this squad is teams with the veteran experience tend to perform in the playoffs. Like
True.
Oklahoma City, notwithstanding, like I think that was more the exception to the rule with Williams and SGA, and I mean they did have some veterans like Caruso and Hartenstein, but it was they were a little bit younger than most teams are that win the championship,
Right.
but we've got a lot of guys who are just entering their prime or in the middle of their prime, 27 to 30 years old. Those are typically the teams when you get to the postseason that are ready to go. They're ready for war. They've been through it. They have the experience. We have the scars from losing to the Pacers the last couple of seasons. So hopefully those have hardened the team and get us a little bit tougher and allow us to take that next step. Because guys, we were 6 wins shy last year. That's not that many. That's not that many at all. And so, I'm not that bridge to get there is a long one, but I mean, for the most part, in my opinion, the talent is there. And we just have to. Mike Brown has a big job on his hands to mold it and to maximize it, because if he does, then this team could go a long way. And I think Mikal Bridges is going to be the span that either gets us there or breaks and causes us not to get there.
The X factor.
You think you think Mikal Bridges' role is going to be that big that he can make or break us?
I think if Mikal Bridges plays well, I think we are out of here, Steph. I think we are a very, very difficult team to handle if Mikal Bridges is on, like, clicking on all cylinders. Like, I think he is the key to not unlocking us, but if he plays well, then I don't think there's that many teams in the league that could beat us in a 7-game series.
I mean, I would
Maybe
agree. Like if
maybe
Brunson is
like
doing what
two
he's
of them. Maybe like
right.
2 teams in the whole league that can beat us.
Yeah. What's your questions, or what are your questions going into this season? Any concerns, any questions? What do you want to see, or looking forward to seeing going into the season? I think I'm gonna watch preseason games. Just wanting to see, just wanting to see what's new.
Honestly, for me, it's the health of Mitch. I think the health of Mitch is crucial. Like Jeff already mentioned it earlier about our, backup center after Cat. And like we already said, that Cat is, he usually gets hurt. He just didn't get hurt last year. Same thing with OG. So I think health is definitely what I'm concerned about this year. Everything else, I think like the coaching problems or anything like that, I think those will kind of fix themselves as the season goes along. But health I think is crucial for us.
Yeah.
And let me double down on what I was saying about Bridges from this aspect, because I think one of my greatest concerns with the roster is, the backup point guard. But what if Bridges is able to assume those responsibilities with the second unit under a different coach? And what if he can take on that responsibility and it unlocks his offensive game more than what we saw a year ago? I think, to me, that's a game changer, because it gives you a lot more lineup flexibility, and it does a lot to help this team, on so many levels, and with the first and second unit. So that's why I say that this could be, and Bridges. Nobody seems happier than Bridges that Mike Brown is in and Tom Thibodeau was out. Like he is definitely. He just seems to, even at Summer League and interviews, he seemed to have a different vibe, a different pep in his step. So hopefully that carries over to the playoffs, this year. And because he's such a talented, skilled player, that we kind of put him in a box last year. We said, shoot the corner three or get get a few mid range touches, but not too many. And he was really good on those, by the way, on especially the corner three and the mid
Mhm.
range were
Mhm.
were fantastic. But I I think that we were only using a fraction of his skill set and his capability. And I think that's what all three of us on this panel kind of were expecting to see from him last year and didn't. And that was one of the reasons why he was so disappointing. But I still think we saw him in Brooklyn. We saw him in Phoenix. We know that he has more clubs in his bag than what he's been using on the course. So hopefully we see that.
Agreed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, in order for him though to help us level up, so to speak, Brunson and Cat have to be them. So if they're them, and then now he's coming along, to your point, that really does elevate the Knicks. The bench will be better. I don't have any doubts. Doubts about that. Um, I'm looking forward to a lot. How do they look to start the season? Will they be growing pains, or will they just, click right away? Which of the players have taken a step or even a leap? What does the offense and defense look like? How are Brunson and Cat maximized on offense and hidden or maximized on defense? How do the new players acclimate? Will any of the new guys be in the rotation, even for spot minutes? We talked about health. Um, and how different is Mike Brown's um, philosophy? And I made some notes about that because we talk about what he's going to do schematically, but rotations and lineups, minutes, using the young guys, how many plays will he actually use? I'm interested in all of that. I have so many questions, so I cannot wait for even preseason. I guess can glean some schematics in preseason, right? Um,
Yeah, I'm about to say, Steph, you giving up show titles and stuff like this is like everything that you said is going to be the subject of a show for the next coming weeks before the season starts.
yeah, 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 yeah. Um, I do want to give the games that I'm going to be at on the road, or I plan to be at. I will finalize it. I will let you guys know. Saturday, November 22nd at Orlando. I plan to be at that game. Monday, the 29th at New Orleans. Plan to be there. The LA Lakers and LA Clipper game, March 8th and 9th. I would love to be there. I'm planning that. Um, the 29th at OKC. Jeff, you said that one was closest to you. What was the other one?
So it's kind of crazy. So Oklahoma City, Dallas, and San Antonio. Oklahoma City's 4 hours. Dallas is like 2.5, and
Oh,
San Antonio is about 4. But I the schedule, the world hates me because it's Wednesday and Sunday are those games, I think, and so
Wow.
Wednesday and Sunday are really just. I'm
tough,
a preacher.
tough game.
Right.
So I don't. I could probably get off the one of the Wednesdays. I'm thinking maybe Dallas because that's a short trip, but I'm also Houston is 6 hours away, so I'm contemplating
Wow.
maybe doing the Rockets game because it's on a Tuesday, and I could probably drive up Monday, and it's a couple weeks after my anniversary, so maybe I can convince the wife that we could take a trip to the coast and catch a Knick game while we're there, but not usually that lucky about that stuff either, but you never know. If I behave myself, there's a
Eh,
shot.
eh.
Yeah, Dallas is at those middle of the week games are kind of tough for me, but Dallas is actually a place I would like to visit. So let me add Dallas. That is the 19th, right? Dallas is November 19th. And Memphis is also in the middle of the week, but that's also a place I would like to go. would have to change my work schedule around. The other ones I don't really have to change anything, but those two I would need to change. But you said that Wednesday is a tough time for you and Sunday is a tough time for you. So basically it's Tuesday.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And that one is
We'll
6 hours away.
we'll figure it out. But 6 hours away in
Yeah.
Texas isn't that bad. I mean, y'all don't realize how big Texas is until you come down here. Like Texas is a massive state. Like there's literally a sign on your way from Dallas to El Paso that says El Paso 500 and something miles away. Like you don't see that in other states. Like Texas is just a massive place. And so, but what's funny is with League Pass, all four of those markets are blacked out. So when I had League Pass last year, I couldn't watch the games against the Mavs, the Rockets, the the Thunder, or the Spurs. I had to find a different way because that's they were all blacked out because they're considered local markets, even though most of them are 4+ hours away driving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Anything else before we get out of here? Yeah. Any anything interesting in Nick news that I didn't um cover? Just real quick about McCullough. So it seems that he's not eligible for that rookie spot. So if the Knicks are going to sign him, he's going to actually have to be signed with that vet minimum spot. And it's going to be interesting to see
Can we
what
give
the
him another
Knicks.
two-way deal though?
Yeah, he can. That I'm not sure of. You can give him a
Because I
G
think
League.
he's more in
He
line for that anyway. Like I think McCullough kind of is a two-way contract kind of a player. I don't think we necessarily have to use the final roster spot on him, so to speak. I mean, you know, I mean, I'm not sure who it's going to go to, but Diawara makes sense. Second round pick, you can use the exception on him. Even James Najee, if you're in love with him, I kind of think Diawara is a better player than Najee, just based upon the limited sample size of what I've seen. But I kind of think that kind of fits in
I
that.
don't think the Knicks can. Mhm. I'm not sure about that. He's a, from what I understand, the Knicks have to. He has 1 year of experience, so whatever that contract is,
So that means he's
I
not
think it's two
eligible for
million.
the rookie exception. Yes, but I don't think
Yes,
that 1 year of experience has. I think you can be on a two-way contract for more than 1 year, can't
he
you?
can. But the
Yeah.
thing about it is, you can't. You don't. Once he goes to the G League, another team can pick him up. That's
Not
that's
if he's on
that's
a
what.
two-way contract.
I don't know if he's. Well, we'll. I'll look more
I don't know the
into
rules.
it.
He may not be eligible for that either. I,
Yeah, I
I
don't know the
saw
rules.
the article. I read the article that you sent me, but it didn't mention anything about two-way contract in there. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's precluded from that or if he just didn't consider that. Uh, so I would have to ask someone
I
who's.
don't think so. Was listening to, they had someone on Ian Begley's show who was talking about him and his um contract. Um yeah. Anyway, we'll figure it out. He's definitely not someone I would want to lose, but at the same time, um we need as much veterans, in my opinion, on this team as we can. Um, that 10th spot, in my opinion, I would like it to go to a veteran who won't command a lot of time, who's more like an injury, um, could be an injury replacement. Like if somebody gets injured, you're bringing in a vet. We'll see. There was There's been reports that they're still interested in Shamit. I mean, the good thing about Shamit is I think he would be okay if he wasn't in the rotation. I'm sure he wants to play, but I don't think he would be disruptive if he's not in the rotation. And if there's an injury to one of our guards, he could step in.
Okay,
But
so
I
I
don't
found this.
see
I'm sorry
him
to
getting
interrupt. A
consistent
player
minutes on this
cannot sign
team. I just
multiple
don't see
two-way
it.
contracts with the same team for more than 3 total seasons. So that is McCullough would waste away. I mean, would be poachable in the G League if that was what they decided to do with them. So it kind of sounds like if we don't, assuming we don't do anything else, it kind of sounds like McCullough is out the door.
That's exactly what I was. That's how I understood it as well, Jeff.
I don't like that. But
Do you want him taking the last vet minimum spot though, Jarrell?
I think I would need to know who is taking up that spot first. And you ask me, will I rather have McCullough or like who? Like I need
DeLon
guys
Wright,
that
I
are
would take
being talked
McCullough.
about for that final spot, like
Ben Simmons,
Landry Shamet.
Shamit.
I'd rather have him over Shamit, especially since we got Jordan Clarkson. I don't see what does Shamit do for us unless somebody's injured, like one of our guards is injured, like whether it's Deuce or Clarkson injured. I don't see what Shamit would do for.
And the other thing is maybe a consolidation trade happens closer to training camp that allows us to, keep McCullough. Who knows? Like there's still, it's kind of like the limbo season for contracts and stuff, and there's a lot of players still available, and there'll probably be some moves made between now and training camp. So we may end up keeping McCullough anyway, just because it looks like something right now doesn't mean that that's the way that it's going to be, when time for the season starts. But I would hate to lose McCullough for nothing, but he hasn't really done anything either. I mean,
that's true.
He scored 30 points in a summer league game. So did Kevin Knox. So like I don't. Is he an intriguing prospect? Yes. I wouldn't punch his ticket to the Hall of Fame just yet.
Yeah. Tough call. I like McCullough. I think it's not a bad idea to have those guys in your pipeline for years down the line. But I guess it depends. Who's the third point guard on this team? Like I just think we just need, even if you're gonna go with Deuce and Clarkson, if there's an injury, who's the third point guard on the team? To me, I just still feel like that's still a need for the team, even if they're not part of the regular rotation and they're super situational. I just think it's important. But McCullough, man, I like him. I like him.
Yeah, for that third point guard, I think we need a trade though. Like I don't think nobody's like who is out there that you would get that spot to. Like I think we have to trade with somebody. So until that happens, I have no idea.
Yeah. So for you, Jarrell, you would have to see who that player is that they're considering, right, and then weigh it.
Yeah, before I just say like I'll rather have a veteran other than McCullough, I need to know who that veteran is and what that veteran will do for this team. Because if they don't do anything, or like I guess it just depends on preference. Like if it's somebody that I don't like, then I would not like to move. But we'll see. Like it just all depends.
Well, and my question too about McCullough, what is his pathway toward playing time with this roster?
An injury to a wing, I would guess.
Do you think that he's ahead of Daddy A on that list? Because I don't.
I don't know. The way they played them in the summer league, I couldn't tell because remember, didn't Daddy A get like kind of banged up or something? Like did he?
Yeah, he didn't play
he only
much.
Played 2 games.
But...
Right. So that kind of
neither did McCullough though.
Yeah, true.
I think McCullough only played 2 games as well.
But they're obviously more like to Jeff's point. They obviously are more invested in Daddy A. So yeah, I don't know. That's tough too because Daddy A is young. Like if I wanted to, like if you ask me the question, which one of them are ready right now? I don't think neither one of them is necessarily ready, but I think McCullough is more ready than Daddy A, if that makes sense.
Because I honestly think, Jarrell, and you could disagree with me, is fine, but I think if we get injuries to the wing, we're going to play small. You
So
think
under no
about guys like
circumstances are
Bridges
they
and
coming.
Clarkson and you know what I'm saying? We have and Deuce and we have all of these guards that we love to play that we don't really have enough minutes for. I think if there's an injury to the wing, we just play small, and I don't necessarily see Daddy A or McCullough cracking the lineup. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that there's a pathway that makes a lot of sense that says this is the avenue toward playing time for this kid. It's nice to have. He's a luxury, but
right. Like if one of the wings go down there, I'll probably just either start Deuce or Deuce will get more minutes. It wouldn't be, somebody like from the end of the bench getting more minutes. I get that, and Josh Hart too. So
you can even play Huck Porty more at the 5 and then shift Yabusele to the 4, and that and everybody goes down a spot that way also. You know what I mean? And open up maybe more of a OG at the 3, some Bridges at the 3, Hart at the 3. You know what I mean? Depending on which one is injured,
right.
Unless like if multiple guys get hurt, and then you're in big trouble anyway. But
I see Kerry in the chat got a good question. What about Beauchamp? We forgot about Beauchamp. They like Beauchamp.
Is Beauchamp going to be here though?
We'll see
how much 2-way. How are we fitting in Beauchamp?
Right.
For me, the McCullough issue is not about this year. I just think it's not a bad idea to have a few, and the Knicks have a lot. They're gonna have to make a decision. It's not a bad idea to have 1 or 2 young players that you're grooming for 2 seasons from now. You know what I mean? So he may not play this year, but if you're evaluating his talent and what he brings, is he somebody that you could say, wow, 2 years from now, I can really see this guy being a part of our rotation and being a contributor? And do we want to let him go for a veteran that's going to be super situational, who may not get, any time? So
only thing with that though, Steph, when you say 2 years from now, much as I like McCullough, remember he's not one of these dudes that only spent like 1 year in college. Like McCullough got to be like 23 or 24 right now. So 30. So 2 years from now, technically he should be like, damn near in his prime, I think. Like I think he's either, I didn't look it up, but I think he's either 23 or 24 years old. So if not pushing 25.
AJ said he's 25.
He's 25 now?
I don't know.
No.
Said that. I wouldn't trust
you think he's 25?
Hold on, I'm gonna look.
Wow.
I'm gonna look. Hold on. He's 24. He turns 25 during the season. He turns 25 in March. So by the end of the season, he'll be 25.
Oh.
So to your point, like he's gonna be damn near 30 by the time he. So I understand that. I get that. I didn't think it by his age and moving forward. But yeah.
Meanwhile, the Daddy A is still like 20, isn't he? 21, somewhere in there. A really young kid, isn't he? Or am I mistaken about that?
Yeah, Daddy A is only 19.
Who's that?
Daddy A.
I'm a little higher on Diawara. I hope I said that right. Than I am on Daddy A.
I like him too.
I like Diawara. Junkyard dog type to me.
And they're about around the same age, right? They're like 19, 20-ish around there.
I think Pacome may be a better 3-point shooter.
Sherman said Kolek is around 25 too. He ain't no spring chicken, but he might be closer to playing time than
right.
McCullough. I mean, debatable.
Right. Yeah, like technically, you could say the same thing about Tyler Collick. Like if he needs to groom for another 2 or 3 years, well, yeah, you can be damn near 30 by then. So I guess we do got a lot to think about when it comes to this regular season. Like I didn't really think it would be, I'm ready for the playoffs, but the more you guys are talking, we obviously have, stuff to talk about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. Any last words? Shout out to the chat. By the way, let me give y'all a few little JJ always rocking with us. Sherwin in the house today. East Blue Drew. Humberto de la Haas. Appreciate you. Love the name. Size 9 rocking with us. I appreciate you. David Smith was here earlier. I appreciate you. Andrew K was in the house. Appreciate you. Kerry Cox. Who else? On Dios NYK.
I saw old head in here earlier.
Definitely, if you appreciating the content, hit the like button. We got some stuff coming, we'll probably bring back the the post game shows during lunchtime. Me and Jeff, we're still talking about. I'm looking forward to that. I'm gonna have to get my energy up. I'm telling it's such a long season. Like that is such a grind, Jeff. I'm just letting you know it's a
Yep.
grind. Um, but looking forward to that. And I might be doing a Sunday show with somebody. So we've been talking about that. Me and Anthony D.
Okay.
So
That'd be
yeah,
sweet.
Okay.
yeah,
Nice.
looking forward to that. Some Knicks, some sports commentary, some sports culture stuff. So looking forward to that. Just narratives that different angles that's not really talked about given what's going on with the Knicks and in sports in general. So I'm looking forward to that as well. We'll do some watch parties, at Legends. So, watch out for that. We'll let you guys know. And DJ Shuttle is trying to get together a pregame at Ben's Crabs. DJ Shuttle obviously is a DJ. And Ben's Crab is in Valley Stream. And so he's trying to get a Knicks watch party there with a pregame show as well. So stay tuned.
Steph, he's still doing that the cruise. Remember you was talking about a cruise you was taking next year.
I'm paying on my cruise, yep,
Yeah.
to Bermuda in August. In August. So I'll get that information and put it up for those who want to come. So he'll be DJ. Basically, it's the battle of the boroughs. So every borough, including Long Island, has a DJ out there. It's a 4-day weekend. Um, so yeah, I will be there in August. Uh, DX Relish in here talking about the broken down Philadelphia 76ers. They held up with ace bandages and band-aids, but let's see if they on the mend, DX Relish. Appreciate you dropping by. King Imbert, I appreciate you also. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. Nick Apocalypse. I like that. I like that. Appreciate you as well. Hopefully I didn't Cole D in the house. Paul McWhite in the house. If I missed anybody, so sorry, my condition. Shout out to the replay gang and the silent listeners. Any last words?
Nah, man, salute to the chat. Salute to IJ. He couldn't be here tonight.
Yep.
Mr. AKA Mr. Green. I don't know. With the green camera, but yeah, salute to
What
IJ.
you got going on for Giants?
I'm not sure when I'm gonna have a show, but obviously I'm gonna definitely have a show before the season start. And Giants versus Jets this weekend. Yeah, I'm excited for football, man. That's what I'm excited about that, Jeff. So we'll see what's going on.
Sweet.
What day of the week is your weekly show going to be on?
Yeah, it's still gonna be Tuesdays at 9:00.
Okay.
Like I think Tuesdays
Okay.
is a good day. It'll give most days are on Sunday. Most games are on Sunday, obviously. So it'll give
Mhm.
like a day for everybody to, especially since how the Giants have been playing the past couple of years. It'll give you a whole day to relax, and Tuesday night we'll talk about the game.
I like that. Tuesday works for me. I finish work at 8 and
Nice.
just roll on over. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Jarrell, Jeff, I appreciate you. Um, Jarrell, take us on out.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Until next time, fam.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't so,
Where you at? Where you at?
don't so,
Where you at? Where you at?
don't so.
What?